Imagine being locked up in the most secure prison in the world, surrounded by freezing, shark-infested water, yet somehow, you still manage to escape. Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary was considered escape-proof and the most secure prison in the country. Alcatraz is based on an island just 2 kilometers off San Francisco, California. This location provided a natural barrier with the cold waters of San Francisco Bay surrounding it, making escape seemingly impossible. Originally built as a military prison from 1910 to 1912, Alcatraz was later taken over by the Federal Bureau of Prisons in 1934. By August of 1938, it housed America's most notorious criminals, including Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly, and Creepy Karpis. The prison's security was legendary, with an incredibly low ratio of prisoners to guards and fortified barriers like barbed wire, 25-foot fences, and vigilant guard towers. Inside, the cells and corridors were designed to be escape-proof, with heat-treated steel doors that were impossible to saw through with any tools the prisoners could obtain. Any attempt to escape in an aggressive manner would prove useless, as evidenced by several failed attempts over the years. However, as impregnable as Alcatraz seemed, 3 inmates managed to challenge this reputation. The first of the escapees was Alan West, the oldest member of the Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary among the escape planners. West had a long history of criminal behavior and escape attempts, having been arrested over 20 times. After attempting to escape from Florida State Prison, he was transferred to Alcatraz in 1957. Next was Frank Morris, considered the smartest of the group and likely the mastermind behind the escape plan. With an IQ of 133, Morris was in the top 2% of all Americans. His intelligence and previous experience with prison breaks made him a critical member of the team. Morris had already escaped from the Louisiana State Penitentiary, only to be arrested a year later for burglary. To prevent further escape attempts, he was sent to Alcatraz in January 1960. Then we have the inseparable Anglin brothers, John William and Clarence Anglin. Born into a family of 13 kids in Georgia, the brothers were said to be inseparable throughout their lives. Their childhood included frequent trips to Michigan, where they developed strong swimming skills in the icy waters of Lake Michigan. This experience would prove crucial later. John was transferred to Alcatraz in 1960 after attempting to escape from the Atlanta Penitentiary, and Clarence followed suit in 1961. These 4 inmates were not only determined, but also had the advantage of familiarity with each other from previous incarcerations in Florida and Georgia. They decided to capitalize on the deteriorating conditions of the facility and their unique skills to stage an elaborate escape plan. The plan began with a strategic move to get bordering cells in Block B. This proximity was crucial for coordination and mutual support during their nightly escape work. The first major obstacle was the heat-treated steel doors of their cells. Realizing the futility of attempting to break through the doors, the escapees devised an alternative plan. They would create their own door by widening the ventilation ducts in their cells. Using dumped saw blades, metal spoons, and a simple electric drill improvised from the motor of a vacuum cleaner, they began their painstaking work. They drilled and chipped away at the concrete surrounding the ventilation ducts, gradually creating holes big enough to crawl through. They worked during music hour to mask the noise and covered the holes with painted cardboard to avoid detection. Once they breached the ventilation ducts, they gained access to a utility corridor behind their cells. This corridor led to a vacant top level of the cell block, which was essentially unguarded. Their primary task was to construct a raft and life preservers to survive the treacherous waters surrounding the island. Using a design from a popular mechanics magazine, they crafted life preservers and a 6 by 14-foot raft from over 50 raincoats they managed to gather. They stitched the raincoats together and sealed them using steam pipes. To cover their nightly absences, the escapees created lifelike dummy heads. They used a mix of concrete dust, toothpaste, soap, and toilet paper to mold the heads, adding real hair from the barbershop floor where Clarence Anglin worked. These dummies were placed in their beds to fool the guards during nightly bed checks. The escape attempt was set for the night of June 11, 1962, 6 months after they began their preparations. After lights out, they put their dummies in place, removed the cardboard masking the gaping ventilation shafts, and climbed through to the utility corridor. However, like most meticulously planned operations, not everything went smoothly. Alan West was unable to join his comrades because the concrete he used to secure his cardboard cover had dried, trapping him inside his cell. The remaining 3 escapees climbed up the ventilation shaft and made their way to the roof. From there, they slid 15 feet down a kitchen pipe and then climbed over a barbed wire fence. They found a blind spot from the guard towers and searchlights where they inflated their raft using a modified concertina. According to estimates, they finished and set the raft on the water around 10 p.m. They had beaten the prison, which was touted as inescapable. They had fooled all the guards and security systems. But did they beat the frigid waters of San Francisco Bay? The fate of Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers remains one of the greatest mysteries in American history. Did they outsmart the supposedly inescapable Alcatraz and evade capture? Or did they perish in the cold waters of San Francisco Bay? Despite extensive investigations and numerous theories, the answer remains elusive. Their escape, whether successful or not, stands as a testament to human ingenuity and determination.